Unscripted.
You know, I was on Next Gen 720's channel yesterday, and I did a video, and you know, we kind of did a video together or whatever, and I just felt like it was a very interesting type of video because he was kind of doing an interview, and he asked me a very poignant question, and I thought that it was a very interesting question because he asked me if I had any regrets, maybe possibly about being like a YouTuber or being, anything that I've kind of done, you know what I mean? And for me personally, I thought about that and it kind of took me by surprise. And it was a really good question, to be honest with you. And basically I have to say that, yeah, like there maybe are some regrets that I haven't really levied. But yeah, like there were, like the more I thought about it overnight, the more I thought, maybe I should do a video about it. Like I know a lot of people don't like me, and that's kind of unfortunate because I feel like, that's really maybe a bit unfair, especially considering the fact that realistically, I'm just a person that likes to talk about video games. Yeah, I kind of like the console wars and stuff like that, and but I get where people come from sometimes. A lot of people feel betrayed by some of the stuff that I did. I was a big Xbox fanboy, and to be clear, I don't hate Xbox right now. I think that the Xbox Series X is a good console. It's just not a console that has a lot going for it in terms of games, and probably won't for another 3 to 5 years, and that's when maybe some of this stuff starts actually coming in and being a little bit more realistically gets kind of a showcase for the console itself, and that's assuming that they don't have another Series XX or something come out by that time. But I was like, yeah, you know what, maybe I regret going so hard as a Xbox fanboy, and so apologies to that. If you're somebody that watched me or you felt offended by something that I maybe said or did or whatever, you feel like I turned my back on Xbox or something, I deeply do apologize. Mostly I apologize for being kind of this fanboy in general. I feel like I want to do, as I sort of start over with my content, and I'm going to be doing a little bit different things here and there, and you guys be sure to let me know what you like out of the things that I'm doing. But the main thing that I kind of wanted to apologize for was just being such a overtly fanboyish type person. And again, like I liked having fun, and a lot of that stuff was fun for me, and I enjoyed it. But it's like, there was a lot of people that maybe bought an Xbox because of something that I was saying, and I really think that I kind of regret that. You shouldn't really look to influencers or people online as a way to sell you on this stuff. Like that's something that I sort of regret. I can't count the amount of messages I got from people that were like, oh, I bought an Xbox because of you, and I really appreciate it. Like I really did like the fans and love the fans and stuff like that, and think that's great. But at the end of the day, I just felt like sort of one of the things that I did was create this group of people that are out there now just non-stop fanboying for Xbox, and kind of doing this thing that just I don't understand it. And for me personally, I also feel like it's been a little bit of a kind of a weird journey. It's like sometimes YouTube likes me, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll send out notifications, but a lot of times they won't, and sometimes they don't even click as my video having gone off, and I'm not even sure what the deal is with that. But I wanted to kind of more streamline what I was doing just as a content creator, and just take a minute to say, what I wasn't, listen, I'm not 100% right. I'm not always going to be right. I'm not always going to be that person that's going to rub that in, because I'm a human being, and I think as humans we all tend to get things wrong from time to time. And I'm not like this huge PlayStation fan like people think, which is the most ironic part, right? Like a lot of people think that I sort of flip-flopped or whatever. The reality of the situation is this: I've been gaming for a very long time, and I look at like exclusive content and exclusive games, even time stuff, as just a reason to get you on the platform and a reason to make you sort of feel special by going in that particular direction. So I think, like when I bought an original Xbox, it was like Halo and KOTOR and KOTOR 2 and Forza, Motorsport and Toe Jam and Earl 3. It was the exclusive stuff. Escape from Butcher Bay. They just really seemed to have like hardcore games, Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden. They just really had like these hardcore group of games, and I really felt appealed to that, as well as like their online, which I'd never seen such a structured, well put out online. I'd been gaming online for a little while, but I was actually gaming with dial-up for a little bit, and it was just terrible. And so when I saw Xbox and Xbox Live, and you could basically game online there with other people using broadband only, it was just such an eye-opening thing for me and kind of a revolution. And so I was really enamored with Xbox. And then obviously, I'm not like some super rich person or anything. I went to Xbox 360 instead of PS. Well, Xbox 360 launched a year before PS3, so it was an easy choice. But even before we knew that, I kind of knew I wanted an Xbox 360 because I saw Gears of War. I saw Cliffy B kind of playing that on G4 TV, and I was like, that looks really interesting to me personally. I would love the chance to kind of play this and see what happens. You know what I mean? So I got an Xbox 360, loved it. Probably my favorite all-time console. It's just such an amazing console and so many great games, and I have still so many great games and memories and experiences with that. But I also got a PS3, and early on I hated the PS3. It didn't have any exclusives, didn't have any games that played better than the Xbox 360 version because the 360 was easier to develop for. Eventually Sony got their act together towards the end of the generation and put out so many exclusives that it was hard to be unhappy with what they were doing, even if the 360 was a better console to me personally because it played multiplats better, and Microsoft had really the type of exclusive that I was interested in. I mean, Halo really came into its own with Halo 3 and Reach, in my opinion, and you had Forza Horizon 1, which might be the best one, and you had Forza Motorsport 3, which in my opinion might be the best one, and you had so many different things, the Viva Pinatas and cameos and Perfect Darks and Alan Wakes, and Mass Effect was an exclusive, and Mass Effect 2 was a year exclusive, BioShock was a year exclusive, Saints Row 1 was an exclusive. They had so many different games out there. It really kind of blew my mind. And then when we went to the Xbox One era, even though I had both, I could only afford to get one console at a time. And Microsoft announced that Killer Instinct was coming back, and they announced within that first year, you were going to, if you bought an Xbox One, you were getting Titanfall, you were getting Forza Motorsport 5, you were getting Dead Rising 3, you were getting Rise Son of Rome, you were getting Killer Instinct, you were getting Sunset Overdrive, Halo Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 2, all within the first 10 months of launch. And that was a fantastic proposition for me personally because, Sony on the other hand had Knack, which didn't look like my particular type of game. And of course they had, Killzone Shadowfall. Once again, that game seemed like nothing like Killzone 2, which I kind of actually liked Killzone 2. So I went with Xbox One, and that kind of propelled me into this situation. A lot of people hated on me just because I wanted to get an Xbox One. They thought, I was taking, that I was okay with the company taking my rights or whatever, which was never really the case. I really just wanted to be happy and to play games. So Xbox was the place to be for me. In 2015, I got a PS4, but begrudgingly kind of got a PS4. I wasn't really actively playing it all that often. I'd play through a game or two here or there a year. That was about it. And then I think in 2018 was when I really started to notice the quality difference. So a lot of people like to throw it up in my face that I gave Halo 5 a good score, or I gave some game. Listen, review scores are subjective, and they're also subjective to the point in time in which you gave them. I gave Rise Son of Rome a pretty good review score, but I went back and played it a couple years ago, and I would give that game like a 5 because it's just not that good. It was okay for at the time, but it's not a good game overall. If you look at Halo 5, I gave that game a good score at the time, but if you go back and play it, it's not a great Halo game. We get excited and we're not playing anything else. I wasn't playing a PlayStation at that time, so I didn't know the difference in quality. When I finally got to play God of War and Detroit and, Spider-Man, that's when I started to notice the quality, and I was like, damn, there's a huge quality difference between Xbox and PlayStation. But, just in general, I don't know, maybe I would like to do other things than, kind of just be known as this guy who kind of drove fanboy wars or console wars or whatever, because I think console wars can be fun, but so many people don't take them as lightly as I do, right? Like, I don't look at these console wars and go, man, these things are so toxic or this, but it's literally every other word out of somebody's mouth is this toxic this and toxic that. I don't think they really know what the word toxic means, but I do feel like for me personally, that I think that, you know, I would like to have a little bit more even-keeled content. You know, I don't know. Maybe you guys understand what I'm coming from. Maybe not. I understand it basically has started over. I've had to start over this channel multiple times because you build up a big fan base of Xbox people, and then they think you turn on you, so you got to go, you know what I mean? And you got to kind of start over, and that's basically what happened to me in the first place, which, you know, a lot of people don't give me enough credit for being honest about this stuff, about how I felt about Xbox, despite the fact that I had a largely Xbox following. And, you know, it was just sort of those type of situation. Like, I went with my heart and had to be honest about this stuff. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, Xbox is the best box when they aren't having games. So, but overall, I do apologize for being sort of such an overt Xbox fanboy that probably got on your nerves at some point. You know what I mean? So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from, and we can all be friends again and talk video games. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you just go F off, Crapgamer. You don't care. I don't know. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.